number 1024.
Hymn number 1024. You got to cry when the Spirit says cry. When the Spirit says cry, you got to cry, oh Lord. You got to cry when the Spirit says cry. 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 Spirit says cry.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Ben Basili. My pronouns are he and him, and today I serve this congregation as a worship associate. My opening words were written by Rosemary Quajola Trumder. Oh, I just lost my document. Hey, we have another. Did you ever press the wrong button inadvertently? I'll probably be able to recover that.
It's okay.
Oh, because now this is the only one we've got. Okay. It's perhaps like billiards, in which the cue ball collides with another ball, and the kinetic energy passes on to a second ball. That's how it is when you, in your joy, collide with me in a hug, and your joy passes on to me. My every molecule vibrating as your bliss becomes my bliss. Your joy becomes my joy until I'm dizzy with it, spinning with it, rolling around the room with it. In fact, it's what I was made for, to be moved by you, by your joy.
Welcome to this sanctuary where no matter what our spiritual beliefs may be, we share joy by centering ourselves in love and embracing the 6 shared values of Unitarian Universalism. At its roots, the word religion means to bind together, and we are bound together by our values and the covenants we make about how to live those values. Living into our covenants is what makes us faithful UUs. Today, as we practice joy together, we will explore how our joys and sorrows dance together as we live into our shared UU value of transformation. Transformation calls us to adapt to a changing world. It asks us to covenant, to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. It states that openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Thank you for joining us today. I am Heather Norby, the Spiritual Life Director for this fabulous congregation, and I use the pronouns she and her. In order to build this community, we need love and connection, and that will lead to spiritual and ethical transformation. And this is your community, so we ask that you please be an active part of it by joining us in the following activities and events. This Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. in the sanctuary is Creativity Matters. You can just come as you are. You do not have to be an artist. I provide the supplies, although you're welcome to bring your own, and we create something together. This month we're exploring the practice of joy, and so whatever we do will be joyful. Next week brings the first Sunday of May and our new worship and programming theme for the month, Living Love Through the Practice of Imagination. It is also our annual meeting, so all members are requested to attend to vote on the budget and other important items. All members should have received the annual packet by now. If not, please see Helen. And please be sure to read it thoroughly ahead of time. The attention we give to these important church business issues is one way we live into our value of generosity. And I would like to give a great big thank you to everyone who assisted with the yard sale and made it a success. It's a lot of work, so thank you, Ken and Dorothy and Petra and Mary and Robin and Macy and Crystal. Am I missing anyone? And Linda, absolutely, and Linda. Yes. Who sold her book, her very interesting book. We raised over $1,100, so yay us. Please check the back of your order of service and our e-newsletter, which is published on Mondays, for more information about what is going on around here. So now, let us create our sacred space by lighting our chalice.
Your document, like love, will always return. Now, Sherry, will you come and light the chalice for us? Out of the darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here with one another. Please rise in body or spirit and let us sing in English and in Spanish, Spirit of Life.
Stirring of the passion,
our children and our young at heart forward. Today we have a very special presentation. It's a skit, and it was written by our youth member, Isabella Steele. And so, let's do this. And to make sure, oh, hold on. Yeah, wait. We want to hear you. And so what I'm going to do is make sure that you pass this back and forth.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just stand right here. Yeah, we're making it awkward. Okay. Curtain. Break, whatever. Go.
Steph, I can't help but notice you've been feeling down these days.
I'm just having a hard time with life right now.
Do you want to talk about it?
I don't want to put that burden on you, Ma.
Well, hey, that's what I'm here for. To shoulder all your burdens with you so you don't have to carry them on your own. That's what friends are here for.
Thank you, Ma.
So do you want to talk about it now?
Yeah. You know my aunt, the one I visited every summer?
Your Aunt Pixie?
Yeah. She passed away recently, and the weight of never seeing her again has really just made days seem more and more impossible. I'm really struggling, Ma, and I don't know what to do.
Well, for starters, you can tell me what you've been struggling with.
All right. Every time I think that my day is just getting a little easier, memories of her just flood through my head, and it makes days harder and harder. I miss her so much. I mean, Ma, I'm never going to see her again.
Sounds like you're struggling with grief, Steph. And the thing about grief is it can be beautiful. Grief helps us realize the significance that a person's made in our life. If you remind yourself every day that your aunt's with you and she loves you, that'll help you be at peace, and reaching out for help when you need it most will help the grief feel lighter.
Thank you. Thank you, Mar. Talking to you has made my day lots better. I really appreciate the advice you've given me. I'm grateful that you're my friend.
Of course, I'm here for you. I really appreciate you telling me what you're struggling with.
Well, thank you, Ben and Petra, and thank you, Isabella, for sharing your talents with us. Yeah. So, what were they talking about? Do you remember? She's ready to move on. Do you remember what they were talking about? No. So, Steph was what's that? Your friends are here for you. Yeah, Steph was feeling down and out, and her friend Marley was there to share with her, to let her share her grief. And then they hugged, and then they felt better. So when you're feeling sad, do you think it helps to talk to someone about it? What do you think? Yeah, definitely. What do you think, grown-ups? Yeah. Do y'all have somebody to talk to when you're feeling down? Yeah. So it makes you feel better? Yeah. Well, I thought was that was a very emotionally intelligently written play by our youth member. And so I'm so thankful for that today, because just as Isabella has learned how to deal with grief, we can all learn from Isabella how to deal with grief when we're sad. Adversity, struggles, feeling down and out. All right, well, that being said, we have something called joys and sorrows, right? Yeah, they like to put pebbles, and I'm going to step down here. Hi, I'm Heather. Nice to meet you. So we have these pebbles here, and when we put them in the water, we're thinking about our joys and our sorrows, right? And it helps us to put them in there together, knowing that we're not alone. And so before you we sing you out to leave, we let you put a stone into the water so that you can share with the congregation what you're feeling or what you need. What do you think? Are you ready for that before we sing? Yep, they're always ready to put the stones in the water. So Kelly's going to come show us how it's done. Beautiful. Would you like to try? You can take any color that you like, any color that feels right to you. Perfect. Thank you. Presley? Wonderful. So now we're going to sing you out. Are you ready for our song? Yeah? Stand on up.
These hands will do the work. These feet will carry me. These arms will be welcoming to what these eyes can see. This mind will stay open to the possibilities. And the love in this heart will set me free.
Good job, y'all. Helen, would you please do us the honor of lighting our healing candle? I'm not. Crystal, this mic is not coming through, I think. No. All right. I will, if I hold it up here, is that better? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Spirit of life and love, we seek healing for a world full of beauty, but one which is being hidden under the unimaginable tragedies that we humans impose upon it. We know it does not have to be this way. So lead us to the ways of repair. Help us to teach one another how to do better. Let us remember that the possibility of joy for everyone does exist, and therefore joy is our work. As we practice joy, help us to see how we can create a world where there is enough joy for everyone. Help us to share our joy with great exuberance, as if that is what we were all meant for, a deep and vital joy. Spirit of life and love, be with us as we endeavor to create change and to heal those parts of the world that are our responsibility. Amen. Joy is a decision, an action, even a practiced method of being. Our ritual of the sharing of joys, concerns, and sorrows embodies this practice and the belief that there is power in deciding to share our joys or our sorrows so the burdens we carry may be diminished, and to share our joys so they may be multiplied. Our ritual of joys and sorrows is a practice that reminds us of the interconnectedness of our lives, and that to be together during this sacred hour is a blessing. In our Joys and Sorrows book, you are able to write any significant joy or sorrow occurring in your life that you would like for the congregation to know. Today we have a joy from Dorothy. As always, she is grateful to those who helped with the huge job of the yard sale. Judy Pell, Linda Case were between early to help move chairs and tables. Proud of our church and team, Dorothy. Thank you. And Nick has a joy. He says he's glad to be out of the hospital. Yes. We are glad you are out of the hospital, and even more glad that it was nothing serious. Thank goodness. And thank you to everyone who signed a card for me. Nick. And then Julia wrote, "Get well soon, Nick. XOXO. And Julia says, I'm thankful for this community. Well, thank you all for sharing your joys and your sorrows with us. I invite you now to come forward to our bowl to place whichever stone or stones feels right to you. Drop it in the water, connecting to others and feeling the power of being together.
Pedro will put stones in for those joining us online. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, and blessings to all of you and all of your joys and sorrows.
Here we gather, tucked back in this friendly neighborhood between the beautiful tall pines. We are a community of people who have arrived from many different paths, yet we seek a common goal, to bring more love to a hurting but beautiful world. We do this by building our UUCL community with our time, talents, and treasure. Our shared UU value of generosity calls us to covenant with one another that we may freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources so that the dream of beloved community becomes a reality. Our ushers will now pass the plate for our collection. Bear with this tech-impaired worship associate, if you would, please. Poet and Professor Ross Gay asks us to contemplate the relationship of sorrow and joy as he writes these questions. What if joy and pain are fundamentally tangled up with one another? Or even more to the point, what if joy is not only entangled with pain, suffering, or sorrow, but is also what emerges from how we care for one another through these things? What if joy, instead of a refuge or relief from heartbreak, is what effervesces from us as we help each other carry our heartbreaks? Which is to say, what if joy needs sorrow? Please join me now as we sing a hymn written by Unitarian Universalist songwriter Shelley Jackson Denham, who wrote this hymn entitled, "When I Am Frightened," as a reminder that all children deserve and need compassion, acceptance, and commitment, and that they often learn to both give and receive these essential elements of relationship through the simple act of observation. Of course, the way we choreograph the dance between joy and sorrow in our lives teaches not only our children, but also one another. May we all learn from one another so we may grow spiritually and ethically. Please rise in body or spirit now and join me as we sing hymn 1012, which can be found in your teal hymnal and in the screens behind us.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion
What if joy needs sorrow? What if it's not just the practice of joy, but the practice of joy and sorrow together? What if the dance they do are the opportunities for connection, compassion, revealed truths, and growth? What if the ways joy and sorrow dance together is the meaning of life, or at least provides deeper meaning to our lives? If that's the case, then perhaps we need to take more time to feel the rhythms and learn the dances of joys and sorrows as they tangle themselves together. There are a variety of dances we can do. We were all taught some sort of dance when we were younger by our parents, family members, and mentors. Some of those dances provided us with healthy coping mechanisms, like in the lyrics of the hymn that we sung, and perhaps that resonated with you and what you were taught. But yes, and also many of us learn to let our joys and sorrows dance or not dance in ways that do not support our physical, emotional, or spiritual health. Throughout our lives, then, we may have had to seek out and learn better ways to go with the flow of the entanglement of life's joys and sorrows. And we may have found that rewiring our brains can be difficult work. In the short sacred time we have together this morning, we are going to explore ways in which our joys and sorrows dance within us, how we cope with grief and struggle. We will ask ourselves, do we let enough joy into our lives? Do we recognize the dance that joy and sorrow do within us to bring meaning into our lives? As we do this, I invite you into our covenant that supports our shared UU value of transformation as we seek to answer these questions and know ourselves better. Our covenant for transformation is that we covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. So I will present you with some unhealthy coping strategies and some healthy ways of dealing with our joys and sorrows, each one presented with a dance metaphor, a video illustration for that metaphor to help you remember, and supporting quotations by wise people who observe and reflect on the dances that we humans do as they pertain to our joys and sorrows. You may recognize yourself in some of these ways. So go ahead and take note, as when we sing our closing hymn, I just might ask you to do a dance or two. And you can join in the mosh pit, just don't knock over the chalice. I also ask that you be generous in your allowances to accept my dance metaphors, knowing that some generalizations have been made in order to make this work. So let's begin with some unhealthy coping mechanisms. First is the dance of avoidance and denial, where one does not wish to face sorrows and struggles. The avoidance and denial strategy seeks only to allow joy to dance. It's a dance, though, that you would likely be doing mostly by yourself, as living in a place of denial makes it hard to connect with others. Have you ever heard the folktale about the girl in the red shoes? Some of you? Let me recap a little. A little girl lived in poverty. She made her own shoes with pieced together fabric scraps. They were red, but not at all fancy. The girl's mother passed away, and so she was then taken in by a generous and kind older woman who bought her brand new red shoes fit for a princess. The girl loved the shoes so much that she didn't want to take them off. She just wanted to dance in them. In fact, she only wanted to dance so she could avoid all the hardships in life. She wanted to trade an authentic life with all the difficulties it may hold for an inauthentic life of comfort. The girl did not even go to the funeral of the old woman when she died. She attended a dance instead. But an inauthentic life in which we only allow joy to surface really is not possible, and a curse was put upon the girl. Soon the shoes began to dance for her, taking her in all sorts of directions she didn't want to go, and she couldn't stop dancing even when she wanted to. Her joy turned into misery, and she finally asked the executioner to cut off her feet. Yet the shoes, with her feet in them, kept dancing and getting in her way. Finally, after living the rest of her life with wooden feet, she was granted mercy and able to go to heaven, getting relief from the shallow desire to only experience joy. Athlete and self-proclaimed human potential nerd Krista Stryker writes about her life lessons on only seeking joy. She writes, "For years I protected myself from failure, not realizing I was also shielding myself from joy. Now, every day feels vivid and in technicolor, no more grayscale living. But with the highs come the lows. When we open ourselves to joy, we open ourselves to pain. It's growth and heartbreak, wonder and loss, all tangled together. Passionate living isn't just about chasing the highs or avoiding the lows. It's about embracing all of it, the messiness, the beauty, the full spectrum of what it means to be alive."
This is a quote from the UU theologian, the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. It is about a time when Parker was in deep despair. In the midst of that, she found herself in a situation where she was invited to look through a telescope focused on Jupiter. Reflecting on that moment, she writes, "It would be wrong to think of this moment as one in which joy triumphed over despair. Such a view assumes that bad feelings need to be excised or suppressed by stronger, better feelings. Peace or happiness or even survival are imagined to be accomplished by cutting something out or dominating some aspect of the self. Viewing the soul this way internalizes violence. I did not defeat negative feelings of anguish and despair because I saw something more lovely and good. Rather, I became able to feel more. My feeling broadened. Pain, sadness, and despair were not eliminated and overcome. I embraced them with a larger heart. My consciousness had broadened to embrace memories of a religious community, immediate experiences of the world's beauty and the kindness of human beings, and a vivid sense of future possibility."
Unhealthy coping mechanism number 2, withdrawal. On the other end of the spectrum from only allowing joy into our lives is the unhealthy response of not allowing it at all. This is when depression shows up. It dominates. We withdraw and turn into a wallflower at the school dance. While I'm not known to be a wallflower at any dance, I do often withdraw when I'm feeling down and joyless. Sometimes I just don't want to be bothered with joy. I want to process my grief. And when it becomes too much, it becomes even harder to reach out because I just don't want to bother anyone. Sometimes we do need some quiet alone time for reflection and growth. But to disconnect ourselves from others deprives us of care, of wisdom, of experience, and of growth.
A quote from poet and professor of English at Indiana University, Ross Gay. "I find that when I'm experiencing sorrow or sadness, my instinct, which I think is many people's instinct, is to not reach out, to not invite other people in. I think there's some element of shame to it. Some of us sort of feel ashamed to be heartbroken or to be devastated or to be sad. And so I wonder if part of that shame is actually because it is evidence of need.
If we listened to the wise advice in Isabella's skit earlier, we would know that it's best to reach out to someone who cares about us. Now let us turn to another unhealthy way we may dance with joy and sorrow, with anxiety and worry. Sometimes even when we do reach out, when we really are trying to find some joy, excessive worrying gets in the way. We fumble while dancing. Anxiety takes over the joy of the movement. But as Leo Buscaglia said, worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. It only saps today of its joy. Well, it's an easy thing to say. Not so easy to get ourselves into that mindset. In today's fast-paced and increasingly unsafe world, many of us struggle with chronic worry and anxiety. It's hard to let it go, and joy is hard to find, so we only dance with it rather clumsily.
In her book, Daring Greatly, author and social worker Brené Brown writes, "I'd argue that joy is probably the most difficult emotion to really feel. In a culture of deep scarcity, of never feeling safe, certain, and sure enough, joy can feel like a setup. We're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Scarcity and fear drive foreboding joy. We're afraid that if the feeling of joy won't last, or that if we won't be enough, or if the transition to disappointment, or whatever is in store for us next, will be too difficult. We've learned that giving into joy is, at best, setting ourselves up for disappointment, and, at worst, inviting disaster. And we struggle with the worthiness issue. Do we deserve our joy, given our inadequacies and imperfections? What about the starving children in the war-ravaged world? Who are we to be joyful?"
Sometimes the absence of joy means anger, and that can lead to aggression. We lash out at others, disconnecting ourselves from those who care about us the most. We do not allow joy to fuel our dance, only anger, and we get caught in the mosh pit of life. While it can be helpful to get some of that anger out, too much of it, and people will get hurt. Getting caught in the mosh pit is detrimental to our well-being. It is not sustainable to sit always in anger.
Artist, writer, and musician Shira Eidelman says, "I want to offer you some joy, which is not rage's nemesis after all, but its wise older sister. Always remember that if the cultivation of joy must not merely exist alongside rage, but as a lantern throwing clarity all over it. Our capacity to address our anger and not be consumed by it relies on joy. What revitalizes us and reminds us of our humanness? What highlights why we're here in the first place? What teaches our heart's openness? It's joy."
To not hear the rhythms of the songs of joy and sorrow as they call us to their dance can certainly prevent us from a spiritual growth that helps to transform our world. But if any of that resonated with you, I can guarantee you, you are not alone. So let us explore some better, healthier ways to allow for our joys and sorrows to dance together, enriching our lives and our relationships. Picture now a slow dance, a dance of love, care, and compassion for self and for others. Think of being held, of holding your whole self, all of your joys and all of your sorrows together, swaying slowly in their sacred entanglement. Let yourself relax, to let go of worry, anxiety, and anger, and to know that all that you feel is good and worthy and held by the spirit of life and love as you move through it all.
quote from poet Cole Arthur Riley: "Joy situates every emotion within itself. It grounds them so that one isn't overindulged while the others lie starving. Joy doesn't replace any emotion, it holds them all and keeps them from swallowing us whole. Society has failed to understand this. When it tells us to find joy in suffering, it is telling us to let suffering go, to move on, to smile through it. But joy says, hold on to your sorrow. It can rest safely here."
Sometimes when we face grief and other of life's difficulties, we need to problem solve if we are to once again figure out how to partner with joy in the dance we do. Sometimes we can problem solve on our own, but most of the time, problem solving with others is much more fruitful. And this can be much like a choreographed group dance in which the dancers must work together. Good choreographed dancing involves planning and communication with a lot of people. Problem solving is a coordinated effort. A choreographer, like a therapist, a life coach, a spiritual director, or a wise friend, can support you with grief-oriented problem solving. How to feel not only grief, but how to have grief and joy eloquently dance together. When trying to figure out how our joy and sorrow can dance together peacefully in our lives, there's no reason that we have to come up with those dances on our own. We can go to experts. We can learn these dances, new styles, and new ways of being in the world with other people who are all going through grief together.
Writer and activist Rebecca Solnit: "When all the ordinary divides and patterns are shattered, people step up to become their brother's keepers. And that purposefulness and connectedness brings joy even amidst death, chaos, fear, and loss."
Another healthy coping skill would be to bring all of your feelings into awareness, to be mindful. According to some, the word tango is derived from the Congo word ntango, which means sun, hour, or space-time. When we are aware of who we are in this vast universe of space and time, we can more easily find ourselves, pay better attention to how we are moving and to what we are feeling. Like the movements in a tango, we can let the feelings arise, recognize them, and let them pass. No matter the style of tango, the dance partners are acutely aware of one another as they move to the rhythms in a flexible embrace, exhibiting their passing emotions. There is a playfulness to tango that is incisive and emotionally exciting. And if we imagine our joys and sorrows doing the tango throughout our body, we may raise awareness of how they interact for us and how joy really is always present in such a dramatic dance.
Writer Margaret Rankle: "We are creatures built for joy. At the very saddest funerals, we can hear a funny story about our lost beloved, and God help us, we laugh. We can stagger out of an appointment where a person in a white coat has given us news we think we cannot bear to hear. And we still smile at the baby in the checkout line, clapping her chubby hands at the balloons by the cash register, or kicking her feet in joy at a stranger's smile. This is who we are, the very best of who we are. The world is burning, and there is no time to put down the water buckets. For just an hour, put down the water buckets anyway. Take your cue from the bluebirds, who have no faith in the future, but who build the future nevertheless, leaf by leaf and straw by straw, shaping them and turning them into a sheltering roundness perfectly fitted to the contours of the future they are making. Turn your face up to the sky. Listen. The world is shivering into possibility. The world is reminding us that this is what the world does best: new life, rebirth, the greenness that rises out of the ashes."
And one final healthy coping strategy, reframing our grief, reframing our joy, and practicing gratitude. And for this, we might engage in square dancing, which I hated in junior high. Reframing. Sometimes in order to find joy, we need to reframe. Joy doesn't bring gratitude. Gratitude brings joy. In this final way of letting joy and sorrow dance together, we find ourselves in a square dance where we are guided by a caller who helps us reframe, switch it up, reframe again. Do-si-do, spin your partner round and round, move on to a new partner, dress up in a way you never have before. Reframe, dance, find the joy, find the sorrow, let the caller switch it up again. Thank your partner, change your partner, round and round we all go.
Author James Cruz. The Benedictine monk, Brother David Snerdel Rast, has famously said, "Joy is the happiness that doesn't depend on what happens." In other words, the surface happiness of having things go our way or finding all our desires fulfilled can never match the sustained power of a truer, deeper joy. Yet we often forget that the smaller joys we cultivate each day remain more sustainable over a lifetime, and that joy is available even as we struggle through a difficult time, even as our world reckons with tragedy and war. Like other qualities we might give our attention to, gratitude, kindness, and mindfulness, for instance, perhaps we can also make joy a regular practice, knowing that it doesn't make us self-centered to receive the grace that rains down from such seemingly ordinary pleasures.
And so I'll end with some questions that you can reflect upon. How do you let your joys and sorrows dance together? Did you identify a dance you wish not to dance any longer? Did you identify a dance you wish to learn, one that will help you uphold our shared UU value of transformation, a dance that helps you adapt to a changing world with twirls and spins, embraces, shuffles, and bows that promote spiritual growth? Let us learn these dances together, practicing joy and sorrow together, and transform our world with the dancing spirit of life and love. May it be so.
A blessing written by John O'Donohue. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken you in a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the current of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of the light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life.
Thank you, Ben. So we are going to rise in body and spirit. We're going to sing hymn number 311, Let It Be a Dance, and I invite you to dance any of those dances or make up your own.
truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out to the world.
Well, go out into the world now and do your dance, inspire others, and remember that you are loved, you are worthy, and you are a blessing.
Okay.